දවස් 30ක්ම unlimited Netflix බලන්න. unlimited data pack එකක් මුළු පවුලටම unlimited fun එකක් අරගන්න. අදම active කරගන්න.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50ට අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපිට එකක් බොමු.
Tonight, unwanted milestone. Sri Lanka's COVID-19 tally breaches 10,000. Only Kilinochchi spared.
Keep movements to the minimum and try to be at home at all times.
Indisciplined bunch. Police to crack down on those in the Western Province who exploited the long weekend, despite being told not to.
A special operation was launched in the areas, especially Nuwara, Alla, Trincomalee, Kataragama and Anuradhapura, in order to trace the illegal arrivals.
Made in Sri Lanka. New pharmaceutical factory in the making to make big savings for the country. All that and much more coming up on First at 9, this Friday the 30th of October 2020.
Nava Sunlight Sakura. Then Dikukal Pavatina Sakura Mal Suandin.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhammika Kanaka. Let's start with your local stories. Now, the curfew which was brought into effect covering the Western Province last midnight is still in effect and will be so until 5 a.m. on Monday. Though law enforcement authorities urged people from the Western Province not to travel outside the province, some people blatantly disregarded that instruction. Police say that those who are found to have done so will face stern action.
Quarantine curfew covering the Western Province was imposed at midnight yesterday as a measure to contain the spread of COVID-19. People in the Western Province were also directed by authorities to not leave the province under any circumstance. Despite that being the case, some people who were stopped at police checkpoints turned out to be doing exactly what they were asked not to do.
We had instructed and we inform all the persons who live in Western Province to not to leave Western Province since tomorrow morning. However, by using various by roads, they have left Western Province and they are on trips. Now a special operation was launched in the areas, especially Nuwara, Alla, Trincomalee, Kataragama and Anuradhapura, in order to trace the illegal arrivals. And especially we are going to check the list of lodgers and hotels, and we are going to trace the names and addresses of the inmates of the hotels. If they have left the Western Province on Thursday morning or during Thursday or Friday, we are taking a stern action against them because they have violated a quarantine rule. We are lifting curfew on Monday by 5 o'clock in respect of 49 police areas. Then thereafter, the vehicles are permitted to enter Western Province. But at the all exit and entry points, we implement roadblocks with STF officers, and the document in respect of all the persons who are entering Western Province, their documents are scrutinized. If they have left Western Province in violating the quarantine order, so they will be dealt with the law and the charges are filed against them under the Quarantine and Prevention of Diseases Ordinance, and in addition to that, the relevant sections of the Sri Lanka Penal Code.
In the meantime, the police were stern in their vehicle inspections today.
මේ ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ නෝදායන ඇතිවෙච්ච. දැන් ඔයාගෙන මේ මාලිගාවත් කරාට විතරක් දැන් ඉන්නවා රෝගී ආසාදිනම 38ක්. ඉතින් මේක අපි බේර ගන්නවා. රටේ ඇතුළේ නිතියක් දාන්න. ඔයා යන්න ආපහු හරවලා යන්න.
At a time, people are instructed to adhere to the government rules and regulations pertaining to the COVID-19 situation due to its virulent nature. Reports of a wedding of a VIP's son that was held at a hotel in Colombo today went viral on social media. As a result, a team of police officers visited the establishment, which is said to have hosted the wedding.
According to police investigations, approximately 35 persons have attended, and we have appointed a special police team in order to conduct investigation. We are hoping to take action against the hotel management, and apart from that, the organizers under the quarantine law, quarantine rules and regulation, they have violated the quarantine order. We are going to report facts to the court initially, and thereafter the charges are filed against the perpetrators.
Safeguard hand sanitizer. Navatama nishpadana pela neerogimat diviyakata.
In the meantime, Sri Lanka today surpassed the maligned milestone of 10,000 COVID-19 cases confirmed in the island. The number of coronavirus cases reported today alone is 314, both being attributed to the two largest virus clusters the country has ever seen at the Minuwangoda apparel factory and the Palyagoda fish market. Now the number of active cases in the island, however, is 5,804. The latest outbreak has now spread the virus to all the districts, with the exception of Kilinochchi.
The Minuwangoda apparel factory COVID-19 cluster and its offshoot, the Palyagoda fish market cluster, account for over 6,000 infections to date. The two largest virus clusters Sri Lanka experienced before the recent outbreak, the Valisara Navy Camp and the Kandakadu Rehabilitation Centre clusters, did not spread to the proportions witnessed at present, with both topping out under 1,000 cases each. After those two clusters were brought under control, there was a phase where the only COVID-19 cases confirmed in the island were imported ones. To date, 1,565 imported virus cases have been confirmed, exceeding the Valisara Navy Camp and the Kandakadu Rehabilitation Centre clusters. All that changed on the 4th of October with the detection of novel coronavirus cases from the Minuwangoda apparel factory. In a span of 16 days, 2,416 cases were confirmed there, including employees and their associates. It, however, took as little as 9 days for 3,979 cases to be reported from the Palyagoda cluster, which the health authorities identify as an offshoot of the Minuwangoda cluster. Yesterday alone, the number of COVID-19 cases confirmed in the country was 586. 467 of them were identified from the Palyagoda cluster, and those infections have spread across 10 districts. Accordingly, 209 cases were reported from the district of Colombo, 199 cases from the Gampaha district, 46 cases from the Jaffna district, 4 cases from Badulla, 2 cases each from Gaul, Nuwara and Ratnapura districts, and 1 each from Monaragala, Hambantota and Kegol districts. By today, 24 out of 25 districts in the country have confirmed COVID-19 infections. As of yesterday, Kilinochchi and Mullaitivu were the only 2 districts spared from COVID-19, but with 2 fresh cases being reported from the Mullaitivu district, Kilinochchi remains the only unaffected district. The highest number of cases are reported from Gampaha, Colombo, Kalutara, Kurunegala, Putlam, Gaul and Kegol districts.
Sri Lanka has come to a decisive phase where unprecedented number of cases compared to the previous clusters have been reported. However, the health authorities in collaboration with the armed forces and other stakeholders have taken maximum efforts to contain and control this cluster of patients that appeared 1 month back, and we are continuing to do the control activities in future as well. We request the people in the country to keep their movements to the minimum and try to be at home at all times so that the risk of getting disease is minimal, and if somebody is at present harboring the virus, spreading the disease through them is minimized.
In the meantime, 4 fishmongers from the area of Karandenia are diagnosed with COVID-19 and steps were taken to admit them to hospitals in Damulla and Hambantota. Public health inspectors took action to quarantine 3 residents of Kandakaralliyadda in Teldeniya, Udispattuva and Rajavella in Digana after they tested positive for the coronavirus. In Avisavella, a person was diagnosed with COVID-19 and his travel history revealed that he had attended a funeral in the area of Kottukachchiya. Members of the Buddhist clergy at 2 temples in the area who attended the funeral were placed in self-quarantine, and the PHIs in charge of the area took steps to temporarily close the 2 temples for the public. Meanwhile, the Galle district health officials confirmed that an employee of the Brandix garment factory in Koggala has tested positive for the coronavirus. In Ratnapura, a woman residing in the area of Batugedara was admitted to the infectious diseases hospital yesterday, along with her 4-day-old infant, after being diagnosed with COVID-19. 39 associates of her husband, who is a member of the Police Special Task Force, have also been placed in self-quarantine. Several banks and shops frequented by the infected woman, meanwhile, were temporarily shut. In the meantime, a police constable from the area of Galagama in Beliatta was admitted to the Hambantota hospital yesterday after being diagnosed with the coronavirus. Members of 5 families who came into contact with the infected person was placed in self-isolation. Meanwhile, in the Western Province, 21 police officers at various stations in the province have been infected with COVID-19. This puts the number of infected police personnel in the Western Province at over 50.
Since the inception of the second wave from the 4th of October 2020, 60 police officers have been found as COVID positive cases, and they have been sent to treatment centers, and we have allocated 2 treatment centers. One is in Punani, and apart from that the other one is in Kandy Kundasale Police Hospital. Apart from that, approximately 300 police officers are being followed quarantine procedures at the moment, and in addition to that we have isolated several police barracks and STF camps because of COVID positive police officers. According to our investigation, it was found that the source of police COVID patients is the Paliagoda fish market, and in addition to that, additional strength is deployed in order to do police duties instead of the officers who are on quarantine procedures, and apart from that, COVID positive police officers.
Elsewhere in Trincomalee, patients at the Ichalampu Hospital, where 102 persons are treated for COVID-19, are faced with severe difficulties due to the lack of adequate facilities. In another development, health officials confirmed that 29 employees of a metal factory located along Vakavatta Road in Navagamu of Kaduvela are infected with the virus. In more incidents, residents of a house in Ihalabomiri of Kaduvela are accusing health officials of delaying the admission of an infected family member for treatment who was diagnosed 3 days ago. They also accuse that the rest of the family are not being directed to a quarantine facility. The infected person spends his time in a 3-wheeler parked in the garden. There was no notice on display outside the residence informing people that the household is under self-isolation. Later in today, however, authorities took steps to admit the COVID-19 infected patient to the hospital. Meanwhile, within the Kurunagala municipality, 8 persons tested positive for the virus. 4 of them are employees of the municipal council and 2 others are employees of the Kurunagala fish market. Health officials confirmed that 2 of their associates have also tested COVID-19 positive. In Kuliapitia, 7 more infected persons have been identified from its MOH division, and among them are 2 police officers serving at police stations in Colombo. In Nigambu, 48 infected persons were found from the area of Mahalellama. Majority of them are fishermen from Nigambu, and the rest are linked to the Paliagoda fish market. In the meantime, 5 persons from the MOH division of Kalutara were diagnosed with the virus following PCR tests. A further 8 infections were reported from the Kalutara district this afternoon, with the detection of 3 patients each from Javatta and Kalutara North and 2 from Vaskaduwa. They too are linked to the Paliagoda fish market. A gym operated by one of them was also temporarily closed by health authorities. It is no secret that the entire country is battling to save itself from this fresh wave of COVID-19 harder than ever before to prevent the island from being plunged into a community spread of the virus. But some unscrupulous people are exploiting the situation to achieve their narrow, short-sighted aims. A group of people pretending to be representatives of health authorities have robbed a house in Mahava, making away with jewelleries valued at nearly 300,000 rupees.
3 persons had gone to a house last evening at 3:30. Then thereafter, the inmates of the house had been given 2 tablets because they pretended as a health team. The inmates, they had taken 2 tablets and then they were unaware of the incident thereafter. This morning, the husband and wife, they got up and they had realized that their jewelries had been robbed. 3 police teams have been deployed in order to conduct investigation on this particular incident. So we are taking a stern action against the perpetrators. Especially, we would like to make a request from the general public that sometimes these type of perpetrators would arrive at your residence. Therefore, be careful with them.
Now, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has emphasised the need to conduct random PCR tests covering every part of the country. The President's views came when the Western Province Health Services Office introduced a new application designed for the benefit of those who are in the medical sector and combating COVID-19 operations to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa during the meeting of the Task Force on COVID-19 Prevention. The new app is expected to provide vital data including information on COVID-infected, their close associates, quarantine, PCR testing services, observations, decision-making and areas closest to the infected. Random tests were carried out continuously within the limits of Colombo Municipal Council. However, unexpected COVID-19 clusters emerged near the Paliyagoda Fish Market and Minuwangoda. The President had stated that it is the social responsibility of people from all walks of life to follow the health guidelines to maximum possible extent. We will see you shortly after this break. Stay tuned.
Ceylon Bank, the bank with a heart.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, the Director General of the Board of Investment says that over 26,500 PCR tests have been carried out in factories which fall under the purview of the BOI. On a separate note, the Government Medical Officers Association warns or raised concerns, I should say, over the efficiency of testing procedures in the country, stating that there's a backlog of about 20,000 PCR tests which were conducted a week ago.
සතියකට ගත්ත සාම්පල් ප්‍රතිඵල තාම ඇවිල්ලා නැහැ. මේක ඉතාම අවාසනාවන්ත කනගාටුදායක තත්ත්වයක්. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් 100ක් බැලුවොත් 2.5ක් 3ක් වගේ ප්‍රමාණයක් පොසිටිව් වෙනවා. එතකොට මේ 20,000 ඇතුළේ අපි උපකල්පනය කළොත් ඒ ගාන يعني මේ 20,000 ප්‍රතිඵල එනකොට අඩුම ගාන තව 500ක් 600ක් පොසිටිව් වෙන්න ඕන. මේක මේ අද නතර වෙන ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෙමෙයි. සමහර ප්‍රදේශවල මේ සමාජ නීති වලට තැනක් දීලම නැහැ. ඒ වාර්තාව කරුණාකරලා කැඳවන්න ජනාධිපතිතුමනි. එතකොට තමයි ඔබතුමාට තේරෙන්නේ මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් වගකීම් ඇතය කොහොමද වැඩ කරලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. වයම පළාත තුල කුරුණෑගල දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ තියෙන අවදානමත් එක්ක සමාජ නීති කිසිවක් සිදු වෙන්නේ නැහැ. දවසකට කුරුණෑගල දිස්ත්‍රික්කයටම ලැබෙන්නේ PCR කරන්න TOPS එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ උපකරණ කට්ටල 50ක් විතර ප්‍රමාණය. ඒ 50න් කොහොමද සමාජ නීති කරන්නේ?
Meanwhile, Director General of BOI Sri Lanka stated that more than 26,500 PCR tests have been carried out in the factories under the purview of BOI since the 8th of this month. 16,527 PCRs have been conducted in the 14 investment promotion zones, with just 495 tests awaiting results.
Commissioner General of Examinations Sanat Pujitha reassures that the curfew imposed on the Western Province will not in any way hinder those sitting for the GCE Advanced Level examination. In the meantime, the Presidential Secretariat issued a circular yesterday urging all heads of state institutions within the Western Province and other risk areas to adopt a work-from-home mechanism once more.
The President's Media Division urged all heads of public institutions in the Western Province and other major townships to adopt a work-from-home mechanism once again. This was conveyed via a circular that was released yesterday. The heads of institutions are instructed to adopt alternative work plans to deliver essential services and other public services using the experience gained during the months April and May this year. Accordingly, the heads of institutions are entrusted with the authority to determine the type of work that can be performed remotely and the employees who will work from home. They should thereby devise a mechanism to deliver work materials such as files as well as the necessary equipment to homes of employees with proper authorization. Availability of employees for work from home needs to be between 8:30 a.m. and 4:15 p.m. However, this can be made flexible by heads of institutions depending on the work or service requirement unless curfew is declared. The heads of institutions have the authority to reassign the employees who are not on work from home plans to institutions or task forces that require additional human resources. As the guidelines are specifically applicable to the districts within the Western Province due to the spread of the virus, government officers outside the Western Province and outside of any other vulnerable location should operate as normal in adherence to the health and safety guidelines. The Presidential Media Division stated that the circular also instructed the heads of institutions of port-related activities, Customs, Water and Electricity Board to continue to provide uninterrupted services. In the meantime, a blanket curfew was imposed over the Western Province from midnight yesterday and will remain in effect until 5 a.m. on Monday, the 2nd of November. However, despite the curfew restricting all manner of movement within the district, Commissioner General of Examinations Sanat Pujitha said that all candidates sitting for the GCE advanced level examinations will be able to travel to their respective examination centres without any obstacle.
සෙනසුරාදා දිනේ වෙනදා වගේම ශ්‍රී ලංකා ගමනාගමන මණ්ඩලයත් ශ්‍රී ලංකා දුම්රිය දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවත් අවශ්‍ය ප්‍රවාහන පහසුකම් සැපයීමට ක්‍රියාත්මක වී තිබෙනවා. ඒ වගේම දෙමව්පියන් සහ වැඩිහිටියන් තමන්ගේ දරුවා එමෙ නැත්නම් තමන්ගේ විභාග අපේක්ෂකයා විභාග ශාලාවට නියමිත වේලාවට යොමු කිරීම පිළිබඳව විශේෂ අවධානයක් යොමු කිරීම තාමත්ම වැදගත්.
We will see you shortly. Bear with us. Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now continuing with more local stories. 64 acres of land owned by the Urban Development Authority in the area of Millava in Horana was handed over to the State Pharmaceutical Corporation for the construction of a new pharmaceutical factory today. State Minister of Production, Supply, Regulation of Pharmaceuticals, Professor Channa Jayasumana says that through the facility, they hope to save roughly around 20 to 25 billion rupees per year.
වසර දෙකක් තුනක් අතර කාලෙකින් මේ ඉදිකිරීම් කටයුතු සියල්ල නිමා කරන්න අප බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඊටාම මිල අධික විකලාංග ශල්‍ය වෛද්‍ය කටයුතු සඳහා යොදා ගන්න උපකරණ, ඒ වගේම හෘද රෝගීන් සඳහා යොදා ගන්න කාඩියක් ස්ටෙන්ට් නිෂ්පාදනය, ඒ වගේම අක්ෂිකාච නිෂ්පාදනය කිරීමට මේ ස්ථාන අපි යොදා ගැනීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි ලංකාවේ මීට පෙර නොතිබුණු ආකාරයේ වසරකට බිලියන 5ක් කෝටි 500ක් පෙති සහ කරල් නිෂ්පාදනය කරන්න පුළුවන් කර්මාන්ත ශාලාවකුත් මෙම ස්ථානයේ ඇති කරන්න අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. සමස්ත ආයෝජනයේ වටිනාකම රුපියල් බිලියන 8කට ආසන්න වෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ රාජ්‍ය ආයෝජනයක් ලෙස සිදුවන්නේ අප සිතනවා මෙම කටයුතු ඉසිසිද්ධ වීමෙන් පසු මෙම රජයේ කාල සීමාව ඇතුළතම මේ නිෂ්පාදන කටයුතු ආරම්භ කරන්න එමගින් රටේ විදේශයන්ට ඇදී යන අතිවිශාල ධනස්කන්ධයක් අපිට ඉතිරි කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි කියන බලාපොරොත්තුව අපිට තියෙනවා. අපි දල වශයෙන් බැලුවොත් එහෙම වසරකට රුපියල් බිලියන 20ත් 25ත් අතර ප්‍රමාණයක් මේ කර්මාන්ත ශාලාවේ නිෂ්පාදන මගින් අපිට ඉතිරි කර ගැනීමේ අවස්ථාව ලැබෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ
Air Vice Marshal Sudarshana Patirana has been appointed as the 18th Commander of the Sri Lanka Air Force. The appointment made by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa will come into effect from the 2nd of November. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.